Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records. Another Monday with Miles Davis. And today, this week, we are going to discuss his album Dig. This is on Prestige. This features Sonny Rollins on tenor sax, Jackie McLean on alto, Tommy Potter on bass, and Walter Bishop on piano. The great Art Blakey as well on drums. This is recorded in one session on October 5th of 1951, not released on a 12-inch, which is what this is, until 1956. It had previously been released, I think, in 54 on two 10-inch discs. Over the years, there's been things added to the CD version of this. Again, you can see the folks there on this album. Again, this is one of the first, if not the first, session that Jackie McLean did. It's one of the early sessions that Sonny Rollins did, and really, it's pretty early. Miles had already completed, what would be The Birth of the Cool, which would not be released till later. Miles is finishing up his long stint with Charlie Parker. Miles is his own leader. This is not his first album, but it's one of his first really as a leader, and we're going to get into it. This is not probably essential Miles Davis, but it's interesting. It shows you virtuosic playing by Rollins and Miles and Jackie. It's probably flawed. This is a long way from Rudy Van Gelder's studio. This was done at Prestige's studio there at Apex, and it suffers from a little dated recording styles. Some of Art Blakey's drums are muffled. You hear a lot of cymbal crashing as opposed to articulate, drumming that you'd hear on even 5 years later, 4 years later, 1955, 1956, recording process gets mastered, by guys like Rudy Van Gelder. Let's go through this thing. Again, this is produced by Bob Weinstock. Recorded again October of 51, released January 56. It opens up with a Jackie McLean song, Dig, and that is the title track. Rollins just waltzes in. Rollins is 21 years old. And incidentally, Blakey, Miles, and Rollins are suffering from addiction here. And I don't know that it's apparent. You can read some reviews where people say that maybe it's apparent. Maybe they're going through the motions a little bit. For me, it shows Rollins in fine fashion. And it shows it's a smoking track. Miles is full of lyrical, fast-running lines. Jackie comes in with his alto at the 4:10 mark. This is a 7.5-minute song. And really, for 1951, that's pretty long-form stuff. A lot of the stuff that Parker, he did with Parker was 2 and 3-minute tracks. This is 7.5 minutes. There's a lot of interplay from the full band, and it's quite good. The first track absolutely suffers some production issues for me. The next song, Only a Paper Moon. This is a Harold Arlen, Yip Harburg, and Billy Rose song, tracking in at 5:23. It's a better room sound here. Again, Apex Studios, but one reason or the other, it's a much better recording. Maybe it's because of the volume. Maybe there's some distortion because of volume. It's a little bit more of a laid-back song. Long opening solo by Miles. Sonny kind of floats in at the 2:20 mark, sounding smooth like an October breeze running through Manhattan. And, it's just gorgeous. Jackie, it's the only song that Jackie does not play on. So this is just them as a quintet in this case. So just Sonny, Miles, Blakey, Potter, and Bishop. I'm not real familiar with Walter Bishop nor Tommy Potter, and I meant to do a little bit more research on those guys personally, but they're not going to show up a lot on what we're going to be reviewing with Miles every Monday because they weren't on a lot of sessions with Miles. The last song on side one is a Miles Davis pen tune called Denial. Miles is burning. Again, really fast playing. Miles is coming out of the bebop era into the hard bop era, which he helps, along with Art Blakey, along with Sonny Rollins, helps define. You know, we're only 5 years away from Sax from Colossus that Sonny Rollins would be doing. And yes, Sonny's having his problems, but there's some wonderful playing here. Particularly, I love Jackie's playing on Denial. Miles is more thoughtful and considered in his playing. And again, he's a few years away from his prime. But he's still playing in fast flourishes, similar to, you know, the Dizzy Gillespie style of playing that he certainly was one of his idols. Certainly was probably a style that fit the bebop sounds of the era and of what Parker wanted. Flip this album over and you have Bluing, another Miles comp, almost 10 minutes. You know, 9:55. Nice Bishop opening. Walter Bishop Jr.'s piano playing kind of starts the process here. This is a blues number. You know, Miles is taking some chances. You can hear some of Miles's, I want to say bad notes, but it's just when you're taking chances, you might hit a bad note. Miles always said it's not the bad note, it's what the next note is that defines how that's going to go. And Miles, of course, is going to rebound like any musician. And it's a good thing to think about as a musician or novice musician. Can't worry about some of the little screw-ups that are going to happen, especially when you're taking chances in improvisational music. You know, really, this is kind of proto hard bop too. You're getting into a more blues and languid chordal structures around the blues and out of the bebop era. Mellow yet enjoyable. Blakey lays a steady feel down, and it's really one of the highlights of the album, Bluing. You know, these are the last composition on this album, Out of the Blue, another Miles comp. Miles's comps on this record, there's three, right? There's Denial, Bluing, and Out of the Blue. You know, they're not the strongest of compositions. And that's okay. That's what a young leader is going to do. He's going to put together some of his first comps, and, you know, but they do allow for a lot of band interplay. And again, you know, maybe this thing's suffering a little bit from the era in which it was recorded, but like the whole album, it's very enjoyable. You know, again, not essential Miles Davis. You know, 51 finds those guys having some issues with substances. This is a fine record. Definitely worth listening to. Adding, if you can find it at a good price, to your collection. And we're going to pick next week's album out of our bucket here and come up with Live Evil, released in November of '71. Live Evil is going to feature people like John McLaughlin and Keith Jarrett, maybe on keyboards. I would think so. Live Evil, I believe, is done at the Cellar Door in Washington, D.C., which is where Georgetown University is. I was trying to impress a girl about a month ago. She told me she went to Georgetown, and I asked her if she knew where the Cellar Door was, and she didn't know what I was talking about. She was half my age. But anyway, check out my channel. We do shows every day about rock, hard rock, album rankings, album reviews, all this stuff. We're going to meet up next Monday. We're going to talk about Live Evil. That's going to be exciting. It's one that I know pretty well, but always deep diving into these things, uncovering some things that you didn't know, and that's what we're going to be doing next week on Monday with Miles Davis. Peace out. Catch you later. See ya.